Thank you everyone for coming to our open house. We had a lot of questions about the process over the last couple of weeks, and I thought, you know what, let's just see if we can have an open house, show our process, maybe get suggestions of how to improve the process. We think it's pretty tight, but there's always room for improvement. So I appreciate you guys being here and being interested in the process. We'll go through kind of like the life of the ballot today. We'll go from when it's first received to the verification process to the reconciliation process. There's a lot of moving parts here. Hi, are you here for the open house or just need a ballot?
No, I need something else.
Okay. Hey Lisa, can you help this? Oh, never mind, they got him. So, I will also remind you that this is a polling place, so the discussion of politics, candidates, ballot issues cannot happen in here. As a little friendly reminder. So any questions thus far? Ready to see the process? Okay, come on up. We'll have you guys come back here. This is Peggy Chilcote. She's one of our lead workers here, and you'll see a lot of our lead workers that we have, they're going to explain the process. They're really hands-on, they really bring great ideas to the table, and really help us have a really tight process. So she handles the reception of ballots, how they're handled in the beginning and through the verification process on Montana Votes, the voter database. So she's going to explain those processes.
Good morning. When you drop off your ballot, either at the Postal Service or here in our drop box, it will come to me. We bundle them into groups of 25. We take them from there. They are then opened, and a card is put with it for reconciliation. So here I have an open batch, and it's got its card that we keep track of the batch number, the date we received it, that it is a bundle of 25, who it was scanned by. After we do the first step in Montana Votes that you will see in a moment, we fill in part 2.
Can we ask questions as
yes.
we're going along?
Yeah.
So would you go back to the step where it gets from that box to being opened? I missed how does it get open?
This machine right here. It's sliced open.
It's sliced open.
But only the pink envelope, not the blue envelope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's not taken out of the...
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. We will... They are then opened. I can do a little walkthrough. So they're given a yellow card at that time.
The top's open, but not the blue.
Just the outer envelope. So once they are open, the next step is they would go to the receivers. If we have a lot of time, with lack of customers up there, the process then shows the signature of the voter. So once it's open, its main purpose is because then we can tear off and expose the voter's signature.
We're one of the only counties that actually has a signature cover flap. It's our I think Vicki, when she was election administrator, changed it to a regular flap. A lot of outcry. So we switched back to that signature flap that hides the signature. And our voters like it. Your signature is not exposed out there, and it's only for our office to see. And so that's something that we'll continue doing.
So then that batch would be prepped to go over to my receipters. Receipt?
Yeah. Yeah, you'll hear little dinging in the background, and that's them going through the scanning in process, where it pulls up that voter's profile so that we can identify the signature.
How many votes have you received so far, do you know?
We're probably close to 10,000 right now. We have sent out 43,000 ballots, and as of Friday, we were about 9,800.
So is this about normal for this time? I mean, this close to the election?
It feels busier, but looking at historical numbers, we're about on pace with 2012.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so once this ballot is bundled and ready to go, then my receipters over here get them, and then we'll step over here and you can see what Montana Votes doesn't allow.
What do you do if there's no signature?
It gets rejected, and then we have to contact the voter. So she's going to talk about that here in a moment. So if you guys want to gather around, a lot of the information that you see on this part is public information. It's simply a signature and the address, so you don't have any of, like, when we have to verify a voter.
You can see actually what she's seeing.
When you have to verify a voter, we have to have the driver's license number and the last four of the social security number. It is not exposed in this process.
The only thing she's able to see is the signature of the voter. We have a printed name. When she scans the barcode, it will bring up that voter. So you go through, you scan your whole batch of 25, puts it in the system. Then you go back, click that batch number, and it brings you to the verify screen. And so she's now in the verify screen on this batch, and she can physically look at a signature of a voter. Right now she's looking at a different image because the first one she didn't see enough points to accept it. So each voter can have one image. Some of them have 8 or 10. All depends. Yes.
You said she didn't see enough points to accept it. What does that mean?
To where the first holding up that signature and looking at the one offered to her in her first image, she didn't feel comfortable exactly accepting it. So then we go back through and look at other images that we may have for that voter. If we cannot find one that we feel has an exact first or the end letter tailing off properly, we can reject it as a signature mismatch. And then that person is called and a letter written to them to come in and sign a new card for us. Or they can fax it also. And so we try to rectify and solve those issues right away. We'll have husbands who sign wives and vice versa. And so then we'll get a hold of them and we will give them a new label and swap them. We have people who don't even sign them, and then they will be contacted to come in and actually sign them. So we try everything to get a voter their chance to vote.
But when you say points, is this arbitrary and
No.
there are certain things you're looking at?
Administrative rule written by the Secretary of State shows that the person who's checking the signature has to be convinced that it's the voter, and you can be convinced off of typically where you see uniformity in a signature is from the starting letter and the starting letter of the first name and the last name, and then it kind of tails off from there. But you can see the slant, you can see certain characteristics where it keeps that uniformity. Like I sign a lot with an R. Connors, and that Connors is very illegible, but my signatures through the images are very consistent with that. So you have to be convinced.
And some people have nothing that has a form of a letter in it. There's one signature that is just a bunch of loops, but you count them, there's 22 every time.
Oh my heavens.
So it's just and it's a way she will mark a red line through it. That means she's accepted it. If she finds one she doesn't accept, then she would find a reason why on there.
This person's very consistent with their signature. Yeah,
it just matches.
I would say 90% of them look like that come through.
Oh, yes.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
How many do you reject? 10%?
In the amount that she said that we had in, close to 9,800, this is our reject box. That's all out of that many ballots.
Wow.
And so it is noted on here what batch number it came from, what date it was processed, the receiver who did the work, what the reason was. We have a signature mismatch, wife signed husband's envelope. So hopefully we can flip through here and find the mate. We have one that's a no signature. So it's just, rejected. This one's provisional. They did not send in their proper card with either their state ID or social security number, so they could become a true registered voter. And so that one was rejected. So they have the opportunity before election to come back in and correct these, so then we can process them from there.
So that's a great. That's so provisional. That we have provisional ballots and we have provisionally registered voters.
There you go.
Provisionally registered voters are handled separately from all the other ballots that go out. So when you register to vote, you provide the last four of your social security number, or you provide your Montana driver's license number. If neither of those work or verify, then you are flagged as provisional. You still receive a ballot, and you can resolve your provisional status by completing this, but it has to still verify before we accept it. So that kind of takes it off into another queue for us to handle separately.
So is that Montana's version of a voter ID, like law or act?
Yes, the way to verify you. So that's how those are handled. The signature was verified, but we could not get the provisional status to rectify on this ballot.
So once these guys are done with their trays and have created their 25s of bundles, then a report is generated for that batch number off of the information that they have entered. A report is done, and it is stapled to the yellow card. It is then bundled around this batch, and then this would move on to receipting. That means it has went through every step here, and step 3 on this, or not receipting,
It's reconciliation.
reconciliation. Step 3 will be done over in the next building.
Would you mind asking her to say her name?
Oh, what's your name?
Peggy Chilcote.
Monty?
I think you said, Rebecca, that you have to have a driver's license or one other identity
Social Security.
card to register to vote. Then why can you go up to vote with any piece of identification? Why don't you have to show those same pieces
Sure.
when you go to vote?
So you've already been verified through the process. We've checked with either administration that you are who you are. So at the time when you go to vote, Montana law really piggybacks off of what's required federally. And so federally what is required is that you show photo ID. If you do not have photo ID, which is a picture and a name, then you need to show a non-photo ID, which could be a utility bill. It could be a pay stub, something with your name and a current address. It has to be a current address in Missoula County. But that's for your polling place. Yeah, and you're already in the system. So you're already established in the register when you're pulled through. You met the 30-day deadline to register. We verified you through both administrations that you are who you say you are.
So if I just moved here from Butte, okay, and I've never voted in Missoula County, and I come here to vote, what do I have to do?
You have to show, when you're filling out a voter registration card, you just have to write down that Montana driver's license number or the last 4 of your social security number. You do not have to show ID when you register to vote. And so when you show ID is when you go to your polling place to cast your ballot on election day.
So if somebody just had a utility bill when they went to vote, and they had all the other, they knew in other words, they were a roommate of somebody, and so they had the same ID. The worst that would happen is the other roommate wouldn't be able to vote.
Correct. So the other roommate would come in, and we've had this happen in 2012, a father-son, same last name. The son came in before the father, signed on the father's line, and they didn't have a junior or senior to differentiate between the two of them, but there's date of births in the register. So then senior comes in to vote, and they said, oh, you can't vote. And that's because junior had already signed on that line. Yep. There's a lot of father-sons with the same first and last name in this county. There are. And if we get a lot of people who have spousal switches, like the wife signs the husband, husband signs the wife. If we can find a pair, we can swap them, and as long as the signatures verify. But if we can't, we have to keep it as rejected.
How many overall ballots will you count in this room between now and election day?
None are counted here before election day.
I mean that you receive and process.
Oh, okay. The back room that we're going to go see next here, I just took them over approximately 4,500 to work today in their steps. And that is 10 of the tubs that she has down there underneath her desk.
Does anybody want
25 ballots in those, and that gives them a full day's work.
Would anybody like to see a report of how that looks like? This is just verifying that now that we have a physical ballot that came in, we'll need that report back then, that once it has been received in the system, this is our check that when these ballots go to their next destination, they are checking to make sure that ballot is within that list so that we can track it through the whole process.
So the
Anybody
bundles
else?
that they have over there are, again, in 25, and they will go through and actually make sure that those names match up with what's on this report, and then take it to their desk. By next week, we should all be in the same room.
Sorry?
Next week, we should all be over in the same room. Yeah.
All right, we ready to go to destination number 2? Any questions so far? And each county.
Do you have any other meetings like this?
No, not
It's the
today.
only one
Yeah,
you're having for this location.
correct. Do you need to run to another appointment or?
No.
Oh, okay, great.
Rebecca, I have another question.
Yes.
How many people does it take? How many people are you using? I mean, staff in here to do all this?
We have about 55 maybe on our payroll for that's both a combination of assistants Assistants are what you'll see when we go next door. They're kind of more labor. They don't work with computers. And then it also includes our aides who do work with computers. We have a combination of seasonal aides as well as short-term aides. We're just doing a hiring recruitment just for this election. Peggy's one of our aides that comes back seasonally for every election and helps us. And it was a process.